Well, this is Jay Nando, San Antonio Metal Music Examiner with Examiner.com, and we are here outside Sunken Garden Theater, Sunday, August 15, 2010, just a couple hours before Lamb of God, Five Finger Death Punch, Hatebreed, and 3 Inches of Blood take the stage. And if you don't recognize the gentleman next to me, we'll cut you some slack because you probably haven't seen him with the scruff lately.
Yeah, with the beard.
Otherwise, please welcome Jamey Jasta, lead singer of Hatebreed and Kingdom of Sorrow. How you doing?
Good,
Thank you so much for doing this.
No problem.
This thing that strikes me, by the way, it's 100 degrees out here if you couldn't tell, but the thing that strikes me about today's show is the Mayhem Fest ended yesterday.
Yeah.
A tour that started July 10th in California. It would have been so easy for all of you Mayhem bands to say, hey, we need to go home, get some rest for a few days. They didn't do that. They came here, half of them anyway, 4 of them anyway, and
Yep.
In This Moment, who's also playing in town on the other side of town later tonight. But why did you guys continue for San Antonio, and especially for you, because Jamey's going to be in Chicago, my original hometown, in 48 hours with Kingdom of Sorrow. You couldn't use the rest.
I gotta go rehearse tomorrow. I'm flying out in the morning, or I might even try to fly out tonight since we're playing early. I gotta check. There might be a seat for me on a flight tonight. So, but yeah, we just wanted to come back to San Antonio. We had a great show here last time at Sunset Station, and when they asked us about it, we said, well, we're not sure. And then when Five Finger and Lamb of God said we're gonna do it, we were like, all right, no problem.
Awesome. Well, I was going to ask you about the last time I was here. That was November 20th at Sunset Station, the last time Hatebreed played in town, and it was half of the temperature that it is right now, 50 degrees, really rainy, and it was a fantastic show. But something that struck me about that show was your interaction with the crowd. You paid tribute not only to Dime, which you do at a lot of shows, but that was around the Fort Hood massacre time.
Yeah.
And you paid tribute to the victims there, and you also reminded the crowd that how lucky we are for our freedom to be able to attend shows. And it just really struck me because you don't hear that from a lot of singers. I mean, that's just part of your routine, though. It just shows, how you were raised, I guess, and what values you value.
Well, going all over the world, you go to a lot of countries that they don't get the opportunity, and when they do, it's incredibly electric, the energy that you get. So when I feel like, we play a city like San Antonio where the energy is like second to none, where the crowd's been supporting us for over 10 years, I just like to remind everybody, even though you get a lot of shows that come through town, it's still, you got to be reminded as you got to be grateful, and still, for us to come to Texas is always amazing.
Yeah. Now, also at that show, you guys played Ghost of War of Slayers, and you told a story about how apparently you were at the Loud Park Festival in Japan where you lost your guitars, lost your gear, and out of 40 bands, I guess, only Slayer was the one who offered to lend their equipment to Hatebreed so that Hatebreed could play the show. And I thought that was fantastic. I know you're good friends with Slayer. I know you did a Headbangers Ball episode with Kerry King. I had the pleasure of doing a phoner with Kerry about 2.5 weeks ago, and I asked him, Kerry, he'll just, even if he's friends with you, he'll be straight up and let you know. And I asked him what he thought of your guys' version of Ghost of War, and he flat out said it was the best cover on For the Lion. So,
oh wow,
there you go.
Cool. I never heard from Kerry about it. I only spoke to Dave Lombardo, and I spoke to Tom briefly after his surgery. We did a show together, and I saw him, and we hung out for about 10 minutes, and we talked. But he hadn't heard it yet.
Right.
But so that's really cool. No, I mean, Kerry played a solo on Perseverance. He's one of, if not my favorite guitar player ever.
Yeah.
And I kind of try to, emulate him in the way that he, has kept Slayer alive and well and stronger than ever throughout the years. So we kind of take a page. Hatebreed takes a page from the Slayer book. Anytime we can, we try to really, because I was there. I saw how Slayer has gone from being, the band at the theater and the club level back to being in sheds and arenas and stuff, and it's great. They're like my ultimate inspiration in business and music.
Now, is it true that final Mayhem show yesterday in Oklahoma City, you guys were not allowed to cuss?
Right, yeah. Actually, I guess at 8 o'clock it ended because it's next to a zoo. They don't want the little kids visiting the zoo to hear the cuss words, which now that makes sense. I originally thought it was some sort of tyrannical, crazy, un-American law they were trying to force, but it wasn't.
Well, I can guarantee you don't have to worry about that here today in San Antonio.
Yeah, no.
Well, of course, to touch on Kingdom of Sorrow a little bit, we're seeing a lot more musicians lately who are doing these, I don't want to call it side projects, it's like secondary bands,
Yeah.
other bands. Of course, you have Corey Taylor, Slipknot, and Stone Sour, the legendary Rob Halford with Priest and his solo acts, who will be your Ozfest mate starting in a couple days. When you first formed Kingdom of Sorrow, how much of a challenge was it to make it sound a little different from Hatebreed, but its own thing?
It wasn't a challenge. It was just kind of like we were, jamming on stuff that we said, will we use this for our other bands? We just kind of. I mean, we were so drunk and on pills and doing all this crazy stuff that it was like I don't even remember much of it. Luckily, I've been sober now almost 5 years, and this new record, is much more focused, and it's more about the songwriting and having its own identity rather than just trying to please both bands' fans. So, this one just feels good. I mean, I almost wish I could like clone myself and do two places at once. I get offered so many great tours with Kingdom of Sorrow that I have to turn down. And obviously, as a Crowbar fan, I just want the Crowbar record to come out. I've been really pestering Kirk, like, get it together, dude, get the record out. So we'll see what happens.
And speaking of Kirk, of course, he just released a statement a couple of days ago explaining why he will not be touring. Anything you want to let the fans know about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is what happened last time, except he had a better reason, going on tour with Metallica and Down. But, the road's no place for him right now. I just feel like, especially with what happened with Down, he was very intoxicated on stage. From what I hear, he wasn't really able to get through one of the sets, and he was, he admitted that, and we don't want that on the Ozfest. I love Kirk to death. I'm, a Kirk supporter, true and true, but I'm the friend first, and I want him to get healthy, and he's been very brave about, admitting his problem, and, he's been very, look at his little sneaky editing there. He's been very upfront about it, and I commend him for that, and he's trying to do the right thing. So hopefully he'll get healthy, and we will do another tour, and hopefully he'll be with us.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about a couple of books really quick. You're practically right with all this busyness that you have, and you're actually finding time to write your autobiography. Can you tell people about that?
Well, right now it's not so much autobiographical. It's really just like road stories, essays, kind of intertwined with lyrics and some diaries, some journal entries and stuff. It's way harder than I ever expected. It's been delay after delay because I keep taking on more touring. I try to write on the road, but it's tough. And my Headbangers Ball book is just kind of delayed right now. We'll see what happens. But I have written a couple of chapters on this tour for the Headbangers Ball book, which is going to be fun.
And the other book is Mosh Potatoes, a cookbook put together with recipes from various people in metal. Bobby Blitz Ellsworth from Overkill enlightened me back in April on his salmon recipe.
Oh yeah, I just did one recipe.
What did you do?
I forget what it was. I don't even remember what it was. I'll have to ask Steve.
Was it dessert or a main course?
I think it was a dessert, yeah.
Brownies or something?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, of course, as you may know, Jamey was host of Headbangers Ball for about 3 to 4 years, I believe.
Yeah.
But you're never in control of the videos you get to play. So, if you had a choice, is there like a vintage 80s band or an influential band or video that you would play all the time if you had your choice?
I was such a pest that I got to play a lot of videos that I wanted.
Okay.
Napalm Death, Obituary, Madball, Agnostic Front, Sworn Enemy, stuff on my label. So it was cool like that.
Yeah. And I read recently in an interview with you that you wanted to do you would like to do a collaboration with Lights. Is that true? Yeah. For those who don't know, Lights is a very talented and very generous. I spoke with her at Warped Tour last year. Techno pop artist from Canada. What strikes you about her?
I just think she's a sweetheart, and I like her voice. Yeah. Something about her voice is just awesome. And I did end up doing a rock version of one of her songs.
Oh, okay.
And it's coming out, don't quote me on this, I think August 31st. It's a charity download, so check, iTunes or whatever.
And on top of all that, Jamey owns a clothing line. At today's show, will the Hatewear gear be available for merchandise?
It won't be here because it's going to be on its way to Ozfest. So if you see my tent, it'll say Hatewear Incorporated on Ozfest. Go by, get some gear. I'll be signing there. Kenny from Typo Negative will be with me signing, and probably have some other bands stop by. Hopefully, guys from Devil Driver, Nonpoint, or Go Gore, or Skeleton Witch will hopefully come by the tent and be hanging out.
And you know, Jamey's mentioned his love for San Antonio and Texas in general because you have a Live in Dallas CD or DVD that's coming out. Can you talk about that?
It keeps getting delayed. We're gonna have to do more footage.
Okay.
So there's gonna be something booked where we come back to Texas and we do different cities in Texas and film it. So hopefully early next year.
Awesome. And final question, I got to put you on a spot in a way for the final question. You've had some amazing moments on Mayhem with Randy Blythe of Lamb of God.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to pick out of 3 your wildest moments on Mayhem with Randy. Was it singing Doomsayer on, you know, given nights when he comes out and performs it with you? Was it seeing how long you could go without taking a shower? Or was it both of you hanging backstage with Vanilla Ice?
Probably Vanilla Ice was the greatest thing. He's really cool. Patriot had done shows with him before.
Oh, really? Nice.
He's really cool. But me and Randy, we always have a good time. We signed together in 07. We toured together in 08. We've done some stuff in Europe together, and now we signed again at Light 10 this year. So it was cool. It was actually really cool to see people's pictures from 07 with us.
Yeah.
Both in it, and then everybody coming by and supporting the Hatewear booth, getting their signature Hatewear Randy shirts, and it was really cool. All the Lamb of God fans are great. We have a lot of the same fans, so it's always a good time with Randy. So shout out to Mr. Blight.
Yes, and we will see them both later on stage. I'm personally crossing my double horns to hear Doomsayer and Hands of a Dying Man. I'm hoping for it. You don't have to spoil it for me, but that'll be great. So thank you, Jamey Jasta, for taking the time. Awesome, terrific gentleman and very talented. And for Jamey, this is Jay Nanda, Metal Music Examiner, San Antonio, signing off.
All right, so hopefully with some